that you're asking me to
be.
be.
That's good.
Like I need to still be me, be still original.
That's good.
And so it's gonna be, I feel like you being original in this time, in this area, in this generation is hard.
It's hard.
Because they're asking you to fake it for you to make it.
Mm.
Right, and it's really, really sad. So we are going to come back just in a couple minutes. Please don't go anywhere, because the subject is really mandatory. I mean, you have children, you have probably your husband, your wife, your daughter that watches TV, meaning they're watching people who are affecting them, whether you like it or not, whether they listen to something, whether it's just games, whatever. Those things are impacting their life. So if you want to know a little more, please don't switch off. Stay connected, and then we're coming back to you in a couple minutes. And we are back. So I really like the fact that you are still here, that you still continue to watch us, and in this theme of, influences in this generation. And we have Saint CJ, an amazing sign artist who is, doing what he wants to do in terms of music, but because he's gifted and because the Lord is literally beside him. I mean, it's amazing.
Thank you.
Of what
Thank
you're
you
doing,
so
and the things that you're saying right now is really mandatory. So I quickly wanted to greet Apostle Mylene for being connected. Thank you so much, servant of God. And I want to say thank you to Mama Hollande, Mama Therese for being connected, and every single one of you. Honestly, God bless you. Please share as much as you can. It is mandatory. And so continue on the subject of influencers, especially in this generation. We have the pros and the cons of in everything, right? So the same way how you can use the knife to kill, you can also use the knife to cook with it. When it comes to like influencers, can you please name me like 5 points of when it comes to like negative impact of influencers really in our community that you possibly may know that I don't know? I don't know.
So on a personal level, on a more
personal
level?
Just pick on those
5 things that are negative about influencer. So I'll say 2 that are generic, 2 that are personal, and then 1 that kind of is like the effects of others. So 2 generic problems I think negatively is that what you do, people really follow it. Like it's not a thing of just they'll take it on board, but some people will actually follow it to be like, that's what I'm gonna do. And it stops uniqueness. Like what we do and we create and we give out. I'm not saying this is what you must do. It's what we do. And we pray that it inspires you to do what you're called to do. But sometimes because of this comparison generation and this generation of wanting to, okay, this looks cool, let me do it. It makes a space of ununiqueness. And
can you give an example on that one?
So, for instance, being an artist.
Yeah.
Because people see the good side of being an artist, you know, all the shows and the songs and the playlists and the this and the that. They don't understand the graft. They don't understand that it's hours. It takes a lot of dedication.
Sacrifice.
It takes a lot of sacrifice. Sometimes you're not making the peas that people think you're making. Sometimes you're not making the influence that people think you're making. Oh my days, your song is so great. But from an artist perspective, it's like, it's only reached 1,000 people. And as an artist looking at people are reaching 1 million. Like, why is my message not reaching 1 million people? You're thinking, what am I doing wrong? Or this video was so sick. You spent so much time on it, but the what you get back is not always what you put in, right?
Exactly.
So that's one thing, is that thing of like people compare, but they don't understand. And sometimes people are not genuine to themselves. Like, if you're not cool to be an artist, that's not what you're meant to do. Don't just do it because everyone's doing it. Because there's something that you can do that I can't do, even genre-wise. Like I do R&B and I do kind of stuff like that. If someone's looking at me and they're meant to be an Afrobeats artist, why are they doing what I'm doing? Just because, it looks like it sells, let me just do it. And so many people, because they think it sells,
follow the trend.
They will follow trends, and then they lose what they have. Like, you've been given a unique voice, a unique style, a unique creative mind. Do what you do best.
Exactly.
Because what you do is going to be amazing.
Exactly.
There's only one of you. That's what it is. You have this copycat generation where everyone copies each other.
I like that, copycat generation.
That's right. Copycat.
You got 3 more.
Okay, 3 more. The 3 more I would say is...
Remember, negative.
Oh, right? Negativism. Perfectionism.
Okay.
So what ends up happening is because you see influencers and everything looks great on social media, you think that's their lives. And then you get insecure.
You can say this again.
You get insecure.
Yes.
Because you're like, well, my life isn't great. But Instagram only paints one picture. Most people on Instagram. People will never show the hard stuff on Instagram.
No.
Because they don't want to look vulnerable. And what I'm trying to do with my Instagram is people just take it on a whole nother lens. I'm going to show the hard points of my life. The points that are not so pretty. So that people can see that life ain't always so pretty.
No, it's
and
not.
the life of someone that is meant to do something. Because the higher the platform you go, the harder it gets, the more you can fall. The quicker you can fall down, the quicker things can go rock bottom, the quicker you can feel like. I remember I was speaking to a friend of mine, and they said that the higher they get on this ladder, the more that's expected of you. Okay, well, now you've reached this platinum, now you need to get double platinum. You performed at Wembley, now you need to perform at, the Grammys. Like, they can't be, you got so far, you can't go down, you can't stop. It's like, well, there's what's going on here. So I think there's this perfectionism culture.
Do you think that's the reason why, like, most artists, like, they tend to, like, shift into drugs and things like that, because
100%.
they are expecting so much of them and then they can't stop, as you say. It's like someone who's running, for miles. Like, as a human being, it's normal for you to kind of like
get tired
and walk a little bit and then continue to run, right? But in that business, somehow you can't stop walking. You need to keep on running.
Because so much of who you are is in what you do. And sometimes you can lose a bit of who you are in it. And that's not what you were ever intended to be. Like, we were never intended to be put on these platforms where we had to be perfect. Because nobody's perfect.
Exactly.
And even myself, I have been subject to perfectionism.
Yeah.
Where I now feel bad when I make mistakes.
Yeah.
Because I can't make mistakes. I can't afford to make mistakes. But life is all about making mistakes.
That's how you grow. That's how you become who you are, honestly.
And a lot of people are inspired more by the fact that you have flaws than the fact that you're perfect. So in social media, we paint this picture of everyone's perfect. Oh, I can't ever be like this big artist or this big presenter or this big influencer because they're perfect. No. If influencers show that, you know what, I'm not perfect, and this is why you can do it.
Yeah.
So that's why I say perfectionism is another curse.
One
more. Okay, one more I would say is negative is feeling like it's criticisms or people's opinions.
Okay.
When you're an influencer, sometimes everybody's opinions become who you are.
Yeah.
Like you can't, whatever decision you make, you're gonna have criticism. And that can be a lot of weight on people. And you can feel as if, like, I can understand why some influencers, where they just don't want to do things anymore. Because, like, you know, you can just get bashed for anything. For being kind, for being, just for being yourself.
For going swimming, I don't know, at the beach, for example, like, it's wrong.
It's wrong, or something's wrong. Like, there's always going to be criticism. And I realize the higher you get, unfortunately, the more sometimes there's people that will fight against it. There will things that will fight against it.
Definitely.
Like, not everyone's going to believe in your purpose.
Yeah.
And not everybody's going to support what you do. Yeah. You could do everything right, and it's still not good enough. And I think a lot of times influencers feel like they're not good enough. Whatever they do is never going to be good enough. And they live so much by people's opinions that they no longer have a sense of self-value or self-worth. Because, if I don't please people, then I guess I'm nothing, right? You know?
And that can literally lead you to suicidal thoughts and so on. But what I also wanted to touch on is influencers' bad decision or bad behavior that can absolutely affect the community. Not in terms of them, influencer, but the community, because we are in a generation, as I said, like your message is very, very important. So if you say the wrong thing, you don't know what it can literally lead to, or somewhere in the world, in Asia, for example, is following you, but and he or she seen you, I don't know, saying the wrong things, and they just capture it, and they just feel like that's okay. But it's not okay. So in terms of public, like, what do you think, like, influencers are doing wrong?
I think it's so hard because nobody's perfect, as I said. And I think that if you do say something out of line or imperfect, like, if you make mistakes, you're like, there's such this cancel culture, which I hate. Like, you do one thing wrong and you're cancelled. You know, Kurt Franklin did one thing wrong on Instagram, he's cancelled. He can never do his music again. But is he not a human being? You know, somebody, you know, I think Little Mix's one of the Little Mix girls' boyfriend said something wrong, and he was backlash for it. But it's something he said ages ago. You know, and it's like, you can, in your early life, have we ever not made mistakes or said things that were wrong? But as long as we can come back and say apologize, is that not good enough? So I think that sometimes influencers, they don't get a break where it's like, you're allowed to make mistakes, you know. But even so, again, as you said, like, sometimes they say things wrong, but because they are influencers, they think they can say whatever they want without affecting anybody. I've seen so many influencers say crazy stuff. Even like some influencers that I in my early life looked up to, they said some things that I'm like, that ain't cool. But because they are a celebrity, because they have money, like because they have platform, because they have this, they can say anything about anybody, you know. And I'm not going to say the names of those that have said negative things. I don't believe in condemning people, but it's just been like, wow, you can say that, but why? Because I'm a millionaire, I can say what I want, and this is pride that comes.
A lot of pride,
so much pride.
There's a question here of Coralie Chunke, and she said, how did you react to those who critics?
How do you react to critics? It's still something that's not easy. I don't think it was ever meant to be easy. But there's two things I do. First and foremost, if you have critics, sometimes it must mean you're doing something right. Because for instance, Jesus,
Yeah.
even Jesus. Look at Jesus, and he had critics.
Yeah.
So if Jesus had critics, then if I have critics, I must be doing something right.
Yeah.
If I'm in God's will and if I'm in God's plan for my life and in purpose, then no matter what you do, you're gonna have critics, because sometimes it's jealousy, sometimes other things. So,
exactly.
yeah.
That I want to say about that as well. There's right critics and there is the bad critics.
Yes, 100%.
There's the right critics, you take it in, it builds you, and there's the wrong critics where it's just to bash you.
Yeah,
I mean, just
definitely.
break your mood, your vibe, and whatever you're doing, really.
Yeah.
And that is just the wrong one. So it's just
That's
maybe able to.
But it's knowing to discern, like, what is good critic, what's a bad critic.
Exactly.
And I always look at it like the people that love you, that are in your circle, will always tell you what you need to hear. That's not criticism, that's truth.
Exactly.
But those that don't know you, that just bashing you and saying these things and these wrong accusations about you, that's not cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So just to say, don't listen to it. Yeah.
Music area, and you're moving forward. Like, where do you see yourself really?
What, moving forward?
Yeah.
I just see myself continuing to do more music and just keep going and growing. I'm continuing to just release singles. I know people have been saying to me about projects and albums, but I just don't feel the same to do that right now.
Okay.
I feel like it's just singles. I'm making high quality singles for all different months. I'm gonna try and release some song, once every month or every other month.
Yeah.
Be consistent. But I just see myself making more music and creating more stories and going on more platforms and just speaking and trying to empower young people, and then see what else God wants me to do in terms of creatively and performance-wise. But yeah, I'm just shooting my shots in different places. We'll see in the future what those opportunities bring, but just continue just to be consistent and just to keep. I don't know where God's going to lead me in this. I'm just following His pathway.
I like that, but usually artists, I mean, they start with singing, they want to perform, they want to do other things. They will want to end up becoming a producer, have their own label, have their own, thing. Is that not something that you think about?
It's definitely something I presented to God.
Hire other people to
work, definitely.
Your label.
I think for me, I'm all about legacy.
Okay.
So my heart is just that I will continue to impact people. I want to go around the world, travel the world, impacting people with my music, my creativity, and just allowing myself to just influence people and bring change. But my heart, is to give back to my generation, the generation coming up before me. I mean, not before me, after me, and just be able to impact them. Like, I just want to make a difference.
Yeah.
But yeah, how that looks right now, I don't